We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Massive show in store for you here tonight as we recap LSU baseball, who goes on the road. Bring out the brooms, baby. Bring out the brooms. As Hayden Travinski, with 2 outs, 2 strikes in the bottom of the ninth, goes absolutely ham on a fastball, up and in, over the fence, yeah. And the Tigers would sweep the Ole Miss Rebels. We get in that here tonight. Also, we'll recap the spring game we talked about in the post game, but nevertheless, we're going to talk about it again here tonight. We're going to talk about it here again tonight. What you should take away from it, what you should not take away from it. We're going to talk about some quarterbacks. We're going to talk about some DBs, receivers, O-line. We touch on all of that. Also, I think that this guy is a really interesting cat. Doesn't matter that I know him well. Doesn't matter that he's been a mentor to me in this business. But it is draft week. It is draft week. And tonight, Eric Weinberger from Believe, who started the NFL Network and the week-long coverage of the NFL Draft, joins us at 7:30, along with your Monday special of Carter the Power Bryant that will be joining us at 7:50. So we're going to talk the draft, how it got started, the week-long process, what executives who started the NFL Network, like Eric Weinberger, what they do and don't know before the draft so that they're not surprised. He's got stories on top of stories. What happened with Donovan McNabb? What was it like maybe with Aaron Rodgers, who got traded today to the Jets, I might add. Going to be absolutely fantastic to talk to Eric Weinberger at 7:30. Carter, you know what we're going to do. We're going to chop that thing up like the Holy Trinity in this hoe. And we're going to talk some LSU spring football. So I'm looking forward to him at 7:50. We'll go around your SEC, though, to close it out as the – so I made my 7 picks who was going to win series. I went 5-2 2 weeks ago. This past weekend, I didn't do so good. I thought I did not pick South Carolina. I did not pick Tennessee. Nevertheless, went 5-2 again. So we're 10-4 on the season. So love it. Made some money this weekend. Again, y'all need to start listening to your boys' bets, baby. We're making money over here. Ching, ching. He's the diaper dandy, baby. So it's cool. And we'll talk a little recruiting. Who in the Rudy Poo said that Brian Kelly couldn't recruit? Oh, no, Mr. Blake, here comes all these crystal balls on high-five and 4-star athletes. Deshaun McBride just committed. Morgan Wallen is a piece of Rudy Poo. Little Boosie would never. Boosie would never cancel a concert because his voice went out. He'd be up in that thing, B-O-O-S-I-E. That's what you get. You know, it's pretty typical for Ole Miss fans to be in Vaught Hemingway Stadium for 3 hours and ultimately be disappointed. It's also what happens in their sex game. All right, let's get to a couple comments before we get rolling. This old vet says, so what you're saying is you're about to make Weinberger famous. No, Weinberger's about to make me famous. He's about to make me famous. He's our executive producer for the company that we're with and Believe. But he started the NFL Network. He knows the Big Ten commissioner. I mean, dude's just like, guys, the Eric Weinberger that we're going to bring on at 7:30 legitimately is who found Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport too. Like, dude's legit. Brandon Reese says, hashtag Ask Blake. Getting Deshaun McBride is huge for BK and Kerry Cooks. I'm hoping we get Juwan Johnson. Yeah, looking good there. It's looking good. Delton Duce on YouTube says, smash that like button. Yeah, really, for real, man. It really helps us with that algorithm. Smash that like button. Olvet again says, we are live. That we are. So does Roderick Duga. Dylan Allen says, Morgan Wallen a whole B up in this thing. I don't disagree. I do not disagree. He also asked, Blake, do you think that we'll go after that linebacker from Notre Dame who just entered the portal? I don't know, but he was a former 5-star. I don't know. I just don't know. Father Abear, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, says, Travinsky, based on what he said about having the most fun he's ever had not being a starter, that shows me that this team has the character and chemistry to put up the numbers, up to the numbers intimidator. I agree. And what's so great about Hayden Travinsky, man, what's just so great about him is just the simple nature that you're an older upperclassman. He started on Saturday, but hadn't had a lot of playing time. I think he had played in 16 games up to that point, or 15 games up to that point when he got to pitch hit for Alex Milazzo. 2 outs, 2 strikes, and sent it. Oh, I mean, just blasted that ball over left field wall. So can't take away. And we'll talk about this. We'll lead off with it. You can't argue with how Ty Floyd and Christian Little looked. And I thought you had some good – you did well out of the pen. Like, the biggest misconception is like, oh, our bullpen still stinks. No, Ole Miss had 7 dudes hitting above 300 going into the weekend. Their hitting has not been their issue. Kemp Alderman has 17 home runs. That's not been their issue. It's not been their issue. I love this comment, though. Chance Babin says Hayden Travinsky's mustache is what went yard. I agree with that. Spectrum Well Care, which you need to get Spectrum out here to my house because internet's always Rudy Poo. Says, any news on the D-line coach? It's of my assumption. Here we go. Oh, wrong button. I think we know in a week to 10 days. We're going to know exactly what's going on. So stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter right up here. Right here. Sorry for everyone listening to us. But if you're watching us on TV, you can see it. AYS Sports on Twitter. Turn on the notifications, baby. Turn on the notifications. All right. Let's get rolling. So about our good friends over at betonline.ag and our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons, gmvarnosons.com. Before we do that, you know what time it is. Do us a favor. Hit that like and share, baby. If you're on Facebook, share to all of those social media groups, share to all of those social media pages, yours included. If you're listening to us on YouTube, thank you so much. We were over the 5,000 subscriber mark. Like, comment, notification bell, all of it. If you haven't subscribed, do so for us as well. If you're listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts, TuneIn app, SiriusXM, and now we are excited to announce we are coming to a living room near you. Got a Roku TV, all that good stuff. We'll announce exactly the time, date, location that you can watch us live on television. Thank you to our good friends Braun and Eric, who's coming on tonight, for helping us with that. So without further ado, let's talk about our good friends. Guys, we're back in just 1 minute. We got to talk some LSU baseball, some LSU football. We got some good guests coming up. It's a big show. Stay tuned. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, let's get this thing started, y'all. Jamie Brady on Facebook says, when does Haley Van Lith make a decision? I think that's going to be soon as well. Lance Babin says, hey, and Travinsky's must-hit twins yard. We talked about that. Jacob Wiggins says, let's go. Yes, sir. Don't forget to hit that like and share button there, Mr. Wiggins. He says, will Colorado still have a team left? Yeah, we went pretty in-depth in that on the Ruffino and Joe show. Go over there on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff there as well. Joe, myself, it's really becoming a big thing, so do us a favor in doing that. Blaine Smith says, I would like a transfer running back. I don't know if Emory will be eligible. Got running backs banged up. Well, let's start there. So, actually, we'll start with some baseball. We could start with some football first, since it's what everybody's talking about in the Rudy Crew chat. Let me just say this. I vehemently disagree with that. I 1,000% just vehemently disagree. Guys, Josh Williams was out. Trey Holly was there. Noah Kane was there. I mean, you're still getting a really good back coming in Caleb Jackson. You're going to get some of your backs back. Armani Goodwin is coming back. You have some backs. Now, Brian Kelly did talk about John Emery and the possibility of his return. He didn't cancel it out. He didn't say it wasn't going to happen. There were just some academic requirements that John Emery's got to meet. But, man, all in all, let's call it what it is. Your spring 15 practices that LSU had were really good. Guys, they were good. You come out there, you have some little injuries, yes, but nothing that's life-altering, or not life-altering, but season-altering. You got some guys back. You saw what you needed to work on. You saw great things from your quarterbacks. You saw good things with Harold Perkins in the inside, an inside backer. You just saw what you needed to see. Now, as I've mentioned before, and will continue to mention every single spring that we're doing a show, don't overreact to spring football games. Can you be excited? Being overreacting and being excited are two different realms of what happened on Saturday for LSU football. Your quarterback in Jane Daniels went 10 for 11, 170 yards, give or take, 2 touchdowns. Could have been 3 if you wanted to count the first one that he threw to Malik Neighbors in the corner, first play from scrimmage in the red zone, fade route, bam. Cool. Garrett Nussmeier leading a touchdown in the red zone as well. You can give it to him too. I just think that for me, it felt a lot like the quarterbacks picked up where they left off against Purdue. Both of them. I don't know if you go into the season with a 2-quarterback race. I don't know if you go into the season, those 2 guys splitting time. I just don't know that. What I do know is that you have 2 dudes under center that you feel really good about, man. You feel really, really good about. And if either one of those young men have to play, great. The thing that I love about both of these quarterbacks, Jane Daniels throws a touchdown to Kyron Lacey, who's the first guy out there greeting Jaden Daniels. It's Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier, he's like, anything you can do, I can do better. And he goes down the field. He leads a scoring drive. Bang! Tutty. Quick slant to Brian Thomas for a touchdown when he's with the ones. Who's the first guy that ran out on the field? You guessed it, Jaden Daniels. I love that, man. We make so much of the quarterback race. I want this guy. Blake, you don't know football. Football this, football that. You know what that tells me? Is those two dudes know what the competition is and can lead the team to the promised land that you're ultimately trying to get to. They can lead you to a promised land that you ultimately want to get to. The fan base makes more of a bigger deal, and especially the media sometimes makes it more of a bigger deal than I'm a Jaden Daniels guy or I'm a Garrett Nussmeier guy. Guys, Garrett Nussmeier wasn't ready to lead your team last year. Jaden Daniels did, and you won the West. Can you be happy for that for a change? Be happy for that. You know, I not only the quarterbacks, but I thought the offensive line, when I looked at them, the first offensive line, I might add, they picked up the blitzes. Matt House sent some pressure at them. They picked it up right. They picked it up right. They didn't get out of character. They didn't miss an assignment. They picked up and did the right things. Well, Blake, Jaden Daniels got sacked by Harold Perkins. Well, guys, who the hell wouldn't? Who the hell wouldn't? You've already seen Perk 40, or now Perk 4, literally tracking down Malik Hornsby in the open field. Bryce Young, who will probably be the number one pick coming up this upcoming Thursday. What are we talking about here? Quarterbacks are still going to get sacked. They picked it up. Noah Cain just got blown up and got pieced up by Harold Perkins. Sounds good. Next play, guess what didn't happen? Go back and watch the film. Noah Cain got beat the first time. He didn't let it happen again. Didn't let it happen again. All in all, I'm really excited on how you looked. I'm excited how both of you looked. Or both of them looked. And both how this team looked. You know, I'm not going to reel off stats. Why would I get stats? I charted all the drives with the number ones, and offensively you did good. Another guy that I was blown away by, just to be real with you, and we talked about this on Saturday, a guy that just showed me that he's ready, I think, to be a dude in the SEC was Omar Speights. Guys, Matt House called a linebacker blitz. I don't know what the exact call was. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish, but Harold Perkins came, Omar Speights came, and a guy off the slot came. So we're sending the house at LSU. Jaden Daniels made the right check. He threw it to Noah Cain in the flat. But what happened? Omar Speights, knowing what Jaden Daniels is going to do, at the last second baits him, doesn't blitz, and goes out into the flat to cover Noah Cain, because if he doesn't, it's going to be a big pickup for Jaden Daniels, Noah Cain in the offense. Did really good in the running game. That's a massive pickup in the portal. And you know what's interesting about that is legitimately Brian Kelly came out here in a press conference and said, guys, when you watch this team next season, when you watch LSU football, you're going to say to yourself, man, I'm really glad they went and got that guy out of the portal. How he's not talking about Omar Speights, I just don't know. You have depth along the defensive line. The defensive line, for what it was worth, held their own against, and really the second unit, if you want to call it what it is, the second unit held their own against a very talented and a very good offensive line group. You saw Paris Shan out there make some flashes. You saw Jalen Lee. You just saw Quincy Wiggins. You saw guys out there that can contribute for you. And when it's all said and done, you could, and at least from a depth perspective, one thing that's not questionable, one thing that it just, no matter what you say or whatever happens, to LSU this upcoming season. One thing is 1,000% true. They have significant amount of more depth than they had a year ago. You had a lot of guys out. You're getting 5 new offensive linemen that are coming in, either the portal or talented freshmen. You got Mason Lunsford, Lance Hurd. You got Paul Mabinga. You got some guys that will come in here and can give you very, very quality depth. And you got that along the defensive line too. The biggest concern that everybody will say is what you saw at DB. Guys, let me just call it what it is. As much as I love what Jaden Daniels did, as much as I love what Kyron Lacey and the wide receivers did, as much as I love what a lot of these dudes did this Saturday, you're running man-to-man coverage on the outside. They are legitimately running the man-to-man coverage on the outside. There's no zones. There's nothing that the quarterbacks have to pick apart. So am I worried about LSU from a defensive back perspective? I'm not concerned. I'm aware. You know, it's like your girl, when your girl texts you and she's like, hey, Big Daddy, what you doing? And you know she's going to ask for something. And the thing that she's asking is, can I go out with my girls later to the club? You don't think your girl's going to cheat on you, but you're aware that she's at a club with some really stanky women. You know, it's like if you were dating a girl, Snooki from the Jersey Shore. Snooki goes out to a club. Snooki gonna get hit on. Was it Snooki? Y'all help me in the chat. Am I thinking about the right girl? You get what I'm saying? I'm cautiously aware of what happened. But a 5-star DB in Denver Harris just got pieced up by a 5'11", 170-pound white dude who is also on scholarship. You know who wasn't never on scholarship? Our friend Matt Trent from WBRC says, you're doing too much tonight. Yeah, I mean, just bringing on the guy who pretty much founded the NFL Network, no big deal. No big deal. What have you done with your life? All right. Couple comments before we get to baseball, and then we're going to bring in Eric Weinberger in about 3 minutes. Holden Lee says it could be worse. It could be Colorado. Yeah, man. They have 682,000 kids that hit the portal today. This is how many kids that hit the portal today for Colorado. I think it's 15 officially. I mean, Deion's a lot of things, but not getting kids to stay, Anyway, this is how many kids that went to the portal today for Colorado. Look at that. That's a massive number. Us people in Louisiana can't even count that high. I know I can't. Matt Trent says Eric Weinberger discovered you. You're damn right he did. He knows talent. He found Shefty. I am the Bayou Shefty. I wonder if he came up with that tone. See? Backfired on you, sucker. Brandon Reese with a good comment. He says, I'm ready to see Perkins and Spates together. Absolutely. Again, what Omar, and look, we will talk about this at depth the entire offseason. What Omar Spates did in that play when he went out to the flat and covered Noah Cain, that's legitimately what you saw last year from guys like Micah Parsons. So when you have guys that legitimately have played that much football and can make plays like that, yeah, I'm going to get excited by a guy who's 245 pounds, who runs a 4.5 40, who ran down a running back like he was slicing up a tomato or like he was out there cooking red beans. Like, did he just get the jambalaya pot? Like, this dude legitimately turned heads. LSU turned heads. You watched the Bama game. Joe and I just talked about it. Okay? The bottom line is you have a potential and a chance to do something special. And guys, Blake, I got this message. I got DM 25 times this weekend. Oh, but Mr. Blank, it's just a spring game. I know we're not overreacting, but when a white dude who's 5'11", 170 goes for 70 yards in a tutty, what am I going to talk about? All right, last thing before we get to Eric Weinberger. Hayden Travinsky. The man's got the best mustache in all of sports. It's not debatable. Science has proven that LSU catcher and senior Hayden Travinski's got the best mustache in the business. Guys, all I'm going to tell you is this. We're going to talk a lot of baseball this week. We talked about it. We did the post games, all of it. What a massive weekend. What a massive weekend for LSU baseball. Surprised that they swept? No. Happy they did? You're damn right. You're damn right. You needed to go on the road and do it. You had to go out there and do it. And with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth and 2 strikes, a guy that had been riding the pine all year, a senior who everybody had written off. Yeah, he had gotten some at-bats here and there. He appeared in 16 of the 37, so 45 games. Hit you a home run to clinch a series and just sweep it. It's massive, man. You're getting healthier. You got guys coming out of the pen. You got your bats coming back. Tommy Tanks wasn't that hurt, just got a little nicked up. Hey, man, you were ranked the number 1 team in preseason. You've maintained it the entire season. Do you understand in college baseball how difficult that is? Do you understand that? All right, let's get to Eric Weinberger. But Brandon says eating red beans right now. It's so good, bro. You know how we do on a Monday? Shout out to Devin Snow over at Hold the Mayo. Red beans on a Monday. I mean, you know who didn't have red beans this Monday? Or this weekend, rather, in New Orleans? Nate Diaz of the UFC. Now, he's fighting Jake Paul in a couple weeks or a couple months, but he's out in the middle of Bourbon Street, rear neck choking dudes in the middle of Bourbon. Could you imagine a granny out there with 2 hurricanes and Nate Diaz is choking the life out of somebody? Huh? Producers. He chokes somebody. He put somebody to sleep in the middle of Bourbon. The simple fact that shots didn't ring out, pop, 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 in the middle of Bourbon is uncanny and unreal. All right. The guy that created, founded, made, produced the NFL Network. It is draft week, baby. It is draft week. Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. Can't believe it. It's not like we didn't know. But it's going to be interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's get to our guy. Let's talk about our good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. 45 seconds, and we are back. But you already know what we're going to say. If you want to reduce your spending, you want to get some money back into your pocket, the worst thing that Carol Foss can tell you, we can save you money. Or if he can't help you with your policy, he'll tell you. That's how good our good friend Carol Foss is. We're back in 45 seconds. Eric Weinberger next. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. The man, the myth, the legend, Eric Weinberger is in the building, baby. What's happening?
How's my framing? Feels a little tight here. I can't believe how long it's taken for me to allow me on this show.
Oh, okay. I'm so glad you brought that because I thought you would say that. Can I give you the dates that I sent you the link to come on the show? Are you ready?
Oh, you've got them recorded?
Well, I have them documented right here. February 22nd, August the 22nd, August the 21st, February 1st of last year. I've been wanting you to come on now.
I was busy. I know.
Don't say
this is the perfect week, though. This is the perfect week we saved it for.
It is because it's NFL draft week, and
right.
You're the man, the myth, the legend who started the NFL Network. I'm giving you the open floor, Eric. We talked about this in the pre-show stuff. How did this all come about? So this week, everybody and their mama will be watching the draft. College people, NFL people. It's one thing that brings everybody together. How did all this come about? How did you start all this?
So ESPN started it. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Our goal at the network, just like you do every day and your fans do every day, football doesn't stop. Right. So
Right.
our goal after the Super Bowl was, how do we fill the time from the Super Bowl till kickoff? So we started exploring the combine. This is my favorite time of year by far. I mean, season's great. Sunday mornings are great. Saturday nights are great. But the draft this week, I mean, I get chills. I get goosebumps every Monday before draft week still. I left in 2000. I left the league in 2015. 06 is when we really started. We brought the full crew, Mayock, Eisen. We brought everyone to be side by side with ESPN.
ESPN, right.
And that was just the best. Schefter was there.
Which you hired at one point in his career, correct?
I hired Adam. in in 03. He was part of the original group that was on air for NFL Network. Eisen was first. Kara Henderson, Seth Joyner, Ken Norton Jr., and Schefter. It was really
lineup. What a lineup.
It was great. It was great. It was great. And Adam was, Rich, who still is, I think he's doing this must be his 17th draft that he's doing.
Right.
So he's been the mainstay at the network. But Adam, what a beast he was at the beginning. I mean, and what a beast he is now. And today it's perfect timing to come through it today that on air he announces the Rodgers deal. but I'm so curious, for guys like yourself, young guys like yourself, what did Adam and that whole football insider movement, what over the last decade has that meant for fans like you guys?
Well, for me, okay, as a 16-year-old kid who just got his first offer, okay, in 2006, when you were talking about, seeing Adam Schefter come on and says, "Hey, the Lions are going Calvin Johnson," and the pick's not even in.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know that? Okay, well, obviously he knows because of sourcing, and I'm like, you know what? And watching guys hug Roger Goodell, that's just a motivating factor because Eric, I come from a single parent household. Right? I wanted to be up there. So then you're seeing your guys who are getting drafted. And then the craziest thing of all time happened when you guys launch and you're there and you're doing everything, the trash talking started. EJ Manuel's going to the first round with the Bills. Who in the world would draft him first overall with their pick? So it was just all of the atmosphere. And then what something will lead to, it was just the entire week.
Yeah.
Right. Everything's building up for the week when Reggie Bush isn't going number one overall. So as a New Orleans and Louisiana, y'all broke the news and Schefter broke the news. Mario Williams was going number one overall to the Texans and Reggie Bush was going to be a New Orleans Saint, which you know what happened there. So long answer short, that's where I think a lot of people.
So remember in 06, it was still Saturday and Sunday, the draft.
Right.
So I don't know when we moved it to Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But it was Saturday, Sunday, right? For the first couple of years, we moved it to Radio City. There's a couple amazing things. I think one of the things you and I have always talked about was, especially at the draft, how much information is being passed to the insiders or to back in the day, people used to think Chris Berman was getting it in his ear who the pick was. Okay. So there's a couple things. The players know they're getting picked 5 or 10 minutes before the pick actually happens. I don't know if you remember 06, 07, 08. We used to cut to the green room.
Right.
When the player was getting Vernon Davis was bawling, crying before the commissioner came up and made the pick. We put an end to that at around 08, 09. And there was a lot behind the scenes that went into that. So we put an end to cutting to the green room when those kids got the phone call. We wanted Commissioner Goodell's announcement to be the first time you heard the pick, even though the player already knew. And so since the player knew, Adam and Chris Mortensen would learn also. So I think it was about 07, 08. I used to have Adam perched up to the front of Radio City Music Hall, right by the stage. So he would be right in front of where Commissioner Goodell would walk out. And about the first 12 picks before Commissioner Goodell got up there, I would cut the camera down to Adam, and Adam would say, okay, with the 8th pick is going to be whoever. I think by about the 12th pick, Commissioner Goodell walked by Adam and whispered, tell Weinberger to stop. You guys got to stop tipping the pick. So much to the argument, there was so that offseason, it took another year to produce the draft. That offseason, myself, the league, ESPN, we argued back and forth because a lot of people are thinking, but it's journalism. So Adam's finding this stuff out on his own. Mort's finding it out on his own. And I was saying, we've got to hold it. So you'll notice now, you won't know the pick. It's even banned from Twitter at this point. I mean, you want it. I think the TV audience wants to hear it from the commissioner. And now that moment, like you talked about, that moment has gotten so special between the commissioner and the player, right?
No doubt. No doubt. Well, and I think too. So I think it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. No, maybe even more than that. The year that Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall. Okay. Nobody knew. Nobody thought he would go number 1 overall. Right. And Eric, I got to tell you, when Goodell read off Mayfield, I was mortified. I was beside myself. No idea there was going to be him. Go ahead.
You know, another reason we did it too, though, then there were years like Brady Quinn sitting in the green room forever.
And Rodgers.
Yeah, but the Brady Quinn one was the painful one. Actually, Johnny Manziel waited too, and that became our highest rated show ever because he didn't go till the 20s, right? So people kept waiting.
Right.
So from a television standpoint, you're saying if one of these big names drops, people will keep tuning in. When Brady dropped and it was really painful, I mean, it started becoming painful, right? And right. I think he was with his girlfriend and he's such a great guy. And that was all. We were also trying to prevent that also, even though like for a lot of TV producers, it's like, that's gold. Right. But, you know, it starts becoming like these are 22-year-old kids. Like this is, you know, we just got to kind of protect them a little bit. But it's the most fun ever. The draft is the most fun ever.
Do you think they should bring it back or no?
Bring what back?
The green room, like seeing guys not getting picked.
I don't think so. I think we've moved way past that. I think moving these to these outdoor venues has moved on to something else. I actually sometimes think it's almost for TV. It's almost too big at this point. You know, but it's out of the stable now, right? I mean, it's not getting pulled back.
Yeah, well, and even now, I mean, somebody will leak it on Twitter, and people, you know,
this one has a huge chance to become a massive rated draft with 4 QBs. Even if they go, you know, 1 through the top 8 picks, which they might do, it's still when you have 4 quarterbacks of this level. I mean, it's going to bring a lot of attention to the draft.
Well, even Eric, I mean, what if one of them falls?
Yeah,
you know, like
which one do you think will fall?
I said this.
You think CJ will
on Ruffino and Joe show? I always thought it would be Stroud.
Yeah.
And I've been on record for that for probably 3 months.
You've been talking about that for a while.
I've been talking about that for a while, basically because I talked to someone at Houston and I talked to someone in Carolina that I played with. They've been there. And basically they told me when they got in the room with him, he was on the board and just personality-wise, nobody liked him. Then the opposite happened for Will Levis. People were saying, like, one owner told a scouting department, I don't care what you got to do, find out everything you need to know on Will Levis, period, and go back and reevaluate him. And that's when I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, this might be something serious.
Yeah. Tell me one thing. I'm going to flip this for a second.
All right.
You know how I feel about you, and you know how I feel about what you're doing down there and what you're doing with your guys down there.
Thank you.
How'd you start doing this? Because I'm fascinated by what Joe, what the charity stripe, what Johnny Lazarus with the Rangers, what so many of our hosts do. But tell me how long you've been doing it. Like, just quickly, give me a little bit of, because no one asks you. But tell me how you started doing this.
LSU was firing Les Miles.
Yep.
Okay. LSU lost to Auburn, and a prominent LSU beat reporter said Les is not getting fired. Okay. It came out and said LSU has said that they're not getting fired.
So when is this? This is
2016.
Yeah.
Okay. At the position and place that I was at the time, I was with an official who told me that was a crock of crap. And I know the detail service that brought him from where he was to LSU to retrieve his stuff.
Yep.
I go out on Twitter and say these 3 words. 4 words. Les has been fired. Okay, officially. Well, the tweet went viral.
And you knew it.
And I knew it. I just knew it. So
Okay.
then fast forward, I started the podcast. Then COVID happens. You know, I had some breaks in between it. COVID happens, and everybody's just sitting at home. And I literally just told my wife, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going all in. All my chips are in.
Well,
and that's how it all started. Dad didn't look back yet.
And you're crushing it.
Yeah.
You're crushing it. You do a really nice job, man. I'm always, this is what I love doing it. I love stumbling. Everyone loves stumbling across sort of new talent. And it's just, I just keep encouraging you and people all over like you. There's so many opportunities now to do this stuff. And, you happen to be in a fan base that's just, it's incredible.
Well, even Eric, I mean, the simple nature, and you know this, okay, because you've hired guys, like you have relationships in business. I legitimately know 15 coaches that I played with that are in the SEC.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, 3. 4 of them were in our wedding.
I always wanted to do a draft. I always wanted to break into separate draft shows per team. So, but per college. So I had pitched an idea that we do Alabama, Texas, LSU, Georgia, and Clemson. And we either do it from their campuses, but the draft has still just hit, I think, the tip of the iceberg. I think what we're doing at Believe, what we're going to do by doing 32 draft shows. So right. Giants always talking about Giants, Seahawks always talking about Seahawks, because I know it from the research. Like, I know that after the Vikings pick, the Viking fans want more Vikings in. They don't care about the next pick. Right. But I also think there's an untapped in the SEC, in the Big Ten. For those, you guys want to talk about who your next 4 quarterbacks are. So once your wide receiver gets picked, who are the other 5 wide receivers who are still there? I just think there's so many different directions that we could all go with what we have here.
No doubt. And you know what's crazy about it, Eric? What I learned last year. So remember last year, me and Mike Yuva, who's with Believe, he does the South Carolina show.
Yep.
So we did it 4 hours and 27 minutes. I'll never forget it as long as I live. And when some of the LSU guys start falling, so I thought during the night our numbers would, just drop. It's getting later. It's a Thursday, whatever. Well, when LSU dudes started dropping, the numbers kept climbing. They kept climbing.
What do you mean? Oh, when they kept dropping in the draft.
When they kept dropping in the draft, our numbers.
That's what you want.
Our numbers, because I mean, like, look, we have 300 people in here right now, and to all 300 people, you better like, share, and subscribe. But when something bad happens, and what gets caught up in the media, people just start to like it.
Yeah.
And that's where people get their jollies off. Let me ask you this question.
Yep.
Best NFL network or best NFL story that you have? Go.
Oh man. Best story we have. You didn't prep me for that one.
I didn't. I wanted it to be natural.
I think I think Mayock, I'll keep it to the draft. I think Mike Mayock, I think he predicted in his mock draft that Aaron Rodgers, if he didn't get picked first overall, he was going to end up. Did he end up number 24 to the Packers?
Yes.
So he said if he doesn't go 1, he's going 24 to the Packers. That was an amazing moment.
Man, I loved him so much. I hated that he did. I love him so much too.
Yeah, I want to get him going again. I think he did some playoff games on radio. I think these guys, they take a big shot, right? They take a big shot going off of TV and getting into that fire. I mean,
right.
No one knew these players better than Mike. No, listen, Daniel Jeremiah, who we hired, he's amazing.
DJ's a dude too.
DJ's great, and DJ played ball, and he was great with Joe and Matt Sims last week. But Mike was different. And he really, for those 5-6 years, we were aggravating ESPN at that point, because not only were we there, Mike had a way of really cutting to it, right? He really had the way he delivered, right? He really cut to it. And that Rodgers thing, that was a great story for us.
No doubt. And just the simple nature of who he went to, him falling the way that he did. And that's, again, I mean, I will never forget that draft as long as I live. I remember exactly what Aaron Rodgers was wearing.
Yep.
He was wearing the black suit, the pinstripe suit. He had on a purple tie, and his hair was spiked up, and he was clean cut. Yep. And I was like, that dude is falling like a bad habit, which is crazy, on the day that he happens. Let me ask you this. A couple more for you, Eric.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Come on.
You had some massive personalities.
Mm-hmm.
You had Warren Sapp, who, by the way, happy anniversary to Warren Sapp next week on our interview. That was amazing.
Oh, you got to get him back.
I do.
We got to get him back.
But Marshall Faulk, what was it like from an executive role like yourself with those massive of personalities?
They were. They made it easy. Okay, they made it easy in the respect that, first of all, what people with the football players, the Hall of Famers, they're Hall of Famers because they were always on time. They wanted direction. They wanted critiques. That's how they got to be the best, right? Warren showed up for every production meeting and every show. He'd be 5-10 minutes before every show, before every meeting. Marshall, I remember Marshall. I was a young guy. Marshall looked at me and he said, "Eric, you need to tell me. Don't let me guess where to be, when to be there, what to do. You need to tell me what to do."
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, also, okay, they challenged me a lot. So, we had a point where it was Eisen, Mooch, Sapp, Irvin, and I had been
to cut you off.
Yeah.
It was the GOAT of GOAT panel.
It was a good show, right?
It was a GOAT.
It was a good show for a couple years. And we had Michael too, who's still there with Rich and Mooch, but that group of five was pretty special. And
it was football's Barkley and Shaq.
Yeah, they were having a good time. Warren was so good, and Marshall knew every position, which was rare from the running back position. That's rare to find a running back who does know the game the way Marshall knew it. So a lot of running backs, when you're casting them on these shows, some of the running backs just don't have a full grasp of what the quarterback's doing. I mean, Marshall, held Peyton Manning's hand his rookie year.
Right.
Marshall knew the running game, the passing game. I mean, he did it all. So it was great. It was great. They were big personalities. They were tough. They were tough on me, but they were champions, man. And they just wanted to win and be coached and do the best job that they could do. And they did it.
I'm going to leave this last question open for you.
Yeah.
Basically what I'm just asking in a very general question, is this the best week in sports?
I love it. I love this month. I've always loved this month. When you got that first round of hockey, first round of NBA, and now with UFC, how big that's gotten. So you always have a big fight every Saturday night. You used to have a couple big boxing, a couple big fights.
Ryan Garcia and
the draft, the Derby. There's just so much going on. I love it. I like this time of year better than any time of year.
Well, I outside of the first weekend in September, April, May is my favorite because look, I'm a Yankees fan. Baseball's kicking off. Why is Judge hitting 289?
What a freak! What a freak! You're a Yankee fan too.
Oh, I'm a freak.
Yeah. Hey,
But people don't
at
know-
what point can you show us with your camera what else is going on down there? Like, when can you pull that camera out? Show us the basement or show us whatever room you're in.
All right, hold on.
Come on.
Hold on. All right.
What's it going to be?
So we got 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and it's official.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready? This is just a small sample size. LSU has a guy that's going number 1 overall.
Yep.
Baseball.
Yep.
So this is getting hung right here.
Oh, decorations you're putting up. Got it.
Signed, sealed, delivered. My man Joey B over here. Got one from him.
Bring Carter in. Can you bring him in too? Can you bring 3 of us in at once?
Yeah, I can bring 3 of us in at once.
Bring him in real quick, man.
Carter, you ready? Thumbs up if you're ready.
Dude,
He said, hold on 1 second.
Now he's ready. Now he's ready. I just want to get a quick one with him.
All right, so now we got Carter, Eric.
Carter, you do a hell of a job too, man. You guys do it.
That.
You guys just do a great job. And Carter, what's your guys' story?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you guys know each other?
Connect?
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, don't remember.
So Eric, I had on. We talked about Warren Sapp. So it's about the same time I met Carter. People told me to bring him on. We did. We had a show that had 27,000 views and listens, and I told Carter, and I was like, "Listen, me and you are going to do a Monday morning segment every Monday, pretty much."
Yeah,
So that's how it happened.
I honestly don't remember. It just kind of happened.
Well, Carter, you
but
do a
yeah.
heck of a job too. You guys just got to keep doing it. And the thing you stepped on also was after the women's national championship game, you went live and probably had one of your biggest days you've ever had.
It was by far the biggest day. It's going to be over 100,000 total views and listens.
It's unreal.
Yeah. So so this weekend I interviewed Michaela Williams, and I talked to her dad. She's a 5-star recruit, number 1 player. So I talked to her dad, and I told him that, and he was just like blown away by that. I was like, man, it's women's basketball took that next step. You really felt something different. It truly was crazy.
And you guys paid respect. You were on at the right time. No one else was doing it. You did it, and you paid respect to the team. But also, it's a hot sport, right? People love it. I love it.
The simple fact that I talk women's basketball recruiting, and it is the biggest show that we've ever done. When LSU won a national title is ridiculous.
Yeah, you guys are a clinic for what young people and what people doing now. Like, you could do 1 show a week if you want, but if you really want to get going, you got to do 5 shows a week, 6 shows a week. You got to go on after national championship games. You just got to do it. And then, and then you hope Coach JB does it. We got a bunch that are doing it. But I listen, I hope I didn't bring your viewership down today.
You did not. Look, they loved it. They loved it. They said,
I just love what you guys do. I'm really proud of you guys.
Menard said, great interview. I'm locked in over here.
Yeah.
So, no.
Listen, draft. I got a couple other stories for you another time.
Okay.
We found some great talent, too, at the network, man. We found some great Marcellus Wiley, Trent Dilfer. I had Gruden on a draft before he left for ESPN. That's a hilarious story. Who else did you guys like that was on the network? I mean, Nate Burleson is probably Nate has turned into the biggest star that's come through the network.
Well, I was going to say him. Well, and it was his big takes that wind up being right. Like, they were so ridiculous. They were so ridiculous, and then they would come out to be true. And I'm like,
you know what, Nate, from the day he walked on, he was just so comfortable in his own skin and confident and yet not cocky. And now you watch him doing the news. You watch him doing the news at 7 a.m. Marcellus was like that too. Marcellus, I used to bring on players while they were still playing. So we would have players only. We would have Marcellus, Trent when he was still playing. Dilfer was incredible. I mean, incredible.
Yeah, we need to get him.
We got to get him. He's just got his hands full right now up in Birmingham.
Yeah, he got too many kids hitting the portal. All right, Eric.
Guys.
Salute.
Love you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Keep it up.
Thank you. All right, that's Eric Weinberger, the dude, the man. Dude, he's so great. Could you imagine like hearing how the NFL Network started?
I didn't hear the beginning.
All right,
I didn't. I'll
well,
go back.
You'll have to go back and listen. It's
Yeah.
unreal how much he's like connected. Like, could you imagine being the dude that hired Sapp, Dilfer, Eisen, like all those dudes?
I remember how big of a deal that Eisen left ESPN for the NFL Network.
Yeah. Hey. A nice show. Carl, let's do this. Let's talk about our good friends over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Me and Carter return with you next. We talk some LSU football.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
We're back. All right, officially, the man is back, Carter. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to call you a name. Are you ready?
I'm born ready.
Stop overreacting. Your new name is Overreacting Carter.
Okay. Well, what for?
Wobbly passes.
They didn't wobble on Saturday. I don't know what you're talking about.
They didn't wobble. Who would have ever guessed that? Me. All right. Let's talk about this spring game. Carter, the Power Bryant's joining us. Buddy, I got to admit, I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to overreact. Man, they look pretty solid, though. They looked sharp. They look like they needed to look, right? Am I wrong in saying that?
No, Jaden in particular was really good. Especially
well, and to rudely interrupt you, so was Garrett.
Oh yeah, no, they were both fantastic. Obviously, the only thing was mostly the red zone portions, especially early, but then a little bit later. But honestly, outside of that, they were fantastic.
Well, Carter, they threw 8 out of 10 plays that they ran in the red zone. They threw the ball 8 times, like from the 2.
Right.
So that in and of itself is a low percentage play.
No, absolutely. But honestly, Jaden was really good. I think, as far as his decisiveness and honestly just the way he actually just ripped the balls into Kyron, it was really good. And outside of that, I know Kyron Lacey is the big story, right? The big spring game. But BTJ and Malik also were really good in the spring game. And they honestly did a lot of things to help Kyron get open. And then obviously outside of Kyron Lacey, Landon Ibieta, that was a great run after catch. And
on a 5-star DB.
Right. And they got very creative. I think one thing that I thought really stood out to me as well was Kyle Parker and how much he played with the first groups. And as you know, Blake, I was really high on him from the get-go. And he started moving up, the recruiting boards, and he looked sharp. After the Landon Ibieta catch, I like seeing a wide receiver when he doesn't get the ball do something else, right? So after the Ibieta catch, he immediately found someone to block right when the ball hit his hands, and he had a big block on a linebacker to help spring it. Now Ibieta probably still, runs that distance, but those little things really matter in the SEC where everybody's good on the back end. So, I saw the guys in particular on offense do a lot of the little things right. And that is absolutely huge, especially considering you still have Aaron Anderson and Shelton Sampson coming in the summer. So wide receivers looked unbelievable, Blake. And this is a big one offensively for me. Pass protection was really good. Now, you don't really judge the second unit. That's a reason why Brian Kelly addressed that pretty quickly in the press conference with all the walk-ons, with the second unit. But the first unit, the pass protection was really good in my estimation.
They just picked up every blitz. They didn't have a missed assignment.
They didn't.
They got beat one-on-one, which I'm okay with.
Right.
You're going to get beat as long as you picked up the assignments. Marlon Martinez looked good.
Yeah.
Will Campbell, Emory Jones. You know who probably had the best day from a pickup perspective, just knowing what he needed to do? Miles Frazier. So when you talk about those things and pass protections, it's a big deal. Kyle Parker might be the best route runner on this team. He might be the best route runner on this team. So they just look sharp. Let me ask you this question that a lot of people are concerned about. I said earlier today on the show, I'm not concerned with LSU at DB. I'm not concerned. I'm cautious, or I am aware of what happened. I'm just not going to overreact to them the way that they looked. What do you think about them?
I agree, especially considering this is the first time that they're tackling. That's harder for the secondary than it is the front seven people because you're in more open space as a tackler. So I know it sounds like I'm making excuses for them, but at the same time, Blake.
Well, you are. You are. Ultimately, but
it's just the truth. It's really hard to tackle, but you do also need to be direct at the same time. You factor that into the equation. It was a bad day. It was a bad day for a lot of people. Now, once again, this is just one spring game. This is just one. But there were some really rough performances out there. I will say this, though. I think LaTerrence Welch and what he did in the game really makes you feel better. Obviously, the big plays that he made, one was against Chris Hilton, one was against Gregory Clayton. Now that he's had this game, he's going to have more opportunities to go up against Malik, BTJ, Shelton when he gets there. So he's going to be going up against some higher end talents once the ball really gets rolling. There's a lot of people in Lafayette that watch your show and my show that really want to see this kid actually live up to his potential. That was a big day for him. It was. And he made some really difficult plays. He got his hands on the ball, showed some ball skills, batting those balls away. And this hopefully can be something that leads into him potentially being a player on next year's team. But overall, I think by far the strongest unit, Blake, were the linebackers. Omar Speights can really play. He really showed a wide variety of skills that I think will translate. Obviously, Harold Perkins' first game as an off-ball linebacker was fine. I thought the Weeks brothers had some good games in their own respect. So second level of the defense was good. First level, obviously the line was good versus the run. You would have liked to have seen more pass rush generated from those guys, especially up the middle, but that's Mason Smith's specialty, so we'll see that obviously change. It's something that you've been promoting pretty heavily. But the secondary does need to get better, and I'm hoping for the best there.
There's two thoughts that I had.
Let's hear it. Let's go.
What am I supposed to take from them being in man-to-man coverage and everybody knowing they're in man-to-man coverage? Jay knows, Garrett knows, the receivers know, everybody knows. There's no guessing on what the DB is going to do to you. The second thought I had in saying that, though, that was Ed Orgeron's defense. So the simplest amount of coverage that you had, Ed thought it was legit good defense when you just run man-to-man all the time. I'm going to be cautious. I'm not going to overreact. I just think, look, Denver, who hasn't played football in over 8 months, he made a bad decision on going on the outside, and then, which isn't necessarily a bad move, attacking the outside left shoulder of the back of the wide receiver, because most guys turn out, they don't turn in when they catch a hitch. Well, Landon just happened to do that. I agree with you with Terrence Welsh. I think that there's not another receiver in the country that he ran stride for stride with Chris Hilton. Okay, that's massive. I mean, running stride for stride with Chris Hilton. My thing's not with corner, it's with safety. As Brian Kelly alluded to, buddy, not only were they missing tackles, they were out of position. Okay. I don't know and I know Major Burns isn't here, and I know that Sage Ryan is having to play. You can't be out of position in man-to-man coverage. You just can't. And for me, that's more concerning of not knowing what you need to do when you're this much into the program than anything. Right. I mean, Kyron Lacey broke 2 tackles from Harold Perkins. Okay, great. I know Harold Perkins is a dude. But Greg Brooks and Sage Ryan being out of position is an issue for me that they're going to have to correct really quickly.
Yeah, Sage's first time, being a true safety.
Is it though, Carter? It though?
Not really. I mean, he obviously
he played that entire Bama game from that safety position. He was out of position and he looked slow.
I will say he missed a lot of tackles.
A lot.
And it was a high amount, and it was a lot of different types of tackles. So you do worry about that. I think Greg Brooks also had a rough day. You could see him getting a little frustrated out there as well. So yeah, you do worry a little bit about the safety spot. And is there someone out there that they could find? I will say this though, Blake. I do like Kylan Jackson a lot. Now that is a lot to ask of him to come in the summer and fall and really be a big time rotational piece for a national championship level team. But like I said, when he initially committed, the opportunity is there to play safety at LSU as a true freshman. It's rare that is the case. He's going to have a good shot, and I believe in him. I don't know him personally, don't know a whole lot about him in that aspect, but I think he can play, and he might get a shot. Also, I thought Toviano did some good things.
Thank you.
I thought, in particular, his physicality really showed, even on just tackling receivers. He loves to get nasty, if you will.
Yeah, he's a physical dude.
Yeah, and he's a tank. I mean, he's a big physically opposing a guy. So what was interesting, when I was in Baton Rouge a few weeks ago, I saw him, and I knew he looked big, but you can tell when you stand next to him, this looks like a Division I Power 5 kind of guy. So I'm really excited to see his development as well. And I thought he did some good things on Saturday.
Anything else stand out to you? What else stood out to you?
Quite a bit, Blake. I think there is a non-zero chance that Giovanni Peterson plays some next year at tight end.
What now?
Number 45. I mean, look at the tight end
depth.
Look at where they are right now. Now that's a deep shot. Obviously, Mason Taylor's a guy when he comes back. But yeah, I mean, I think there is a possibility that he plays some next year. I'm not sitting here telling you that he's the next Richard Dixon.
He will definitely come in on pass pro. I can agree. I could see that. Anything
I'm not. He wasn't one of my highest graded guys, but I think there's a real possibility that he gets some reps next year. And also for me, Blake, I think Omar Spates is just going to have to be so big for this defense next year. I mean, he really filled a lot of holes, and it looked really good. He looked really freaking good.
The best play for him was they sent a blitz on third down. Jaden threw the flare route to Noah Kane, and instead of going in on the blitz, he got out in the flat and made that tackle on Noah Kane. He checked without asking permission. He knew what he had to do. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but when you're going 4 seams in a flare route, okay, the DB, it's more than a first down. He probably gained 15, 20 yards on that, okay? He made the most impressive play to me defensively outside of what Harold Perkins did. We'll talk about Harold Perkins next. but it was just good. I thought some of the inside runs that were stuffed by Harold Perkins.
Yeah,
Dude, he got past Will Campbell. Like, is he going to see better left tackles than Will Campbell?
No. I will also bring this up as well, Blake. Last year, LSU did not pull their linemen as much as they did in 2021. So pulling them, just a simplified, definition, going from one side of the line of scrimmage to the other, right? They tried that a lot in the spring game, and you would see them working on that in practice. And LSU just did a really good job of stuffing it. And that was really impressive from that group, even though, they didn't generate the first group, that is. The second group did, mostly because of the competition they were playing. They did a really good job. As you know, Blake, as a defensive lineman, it's really hard to play against pullers. It can be very tricky. So I thought that was very interesting. And I also think the blitz pickup when LSU elected to blitz was really good. It really, really, really was. And I give Brad Davis and Mike Denbrock all the credit when it comes to that. And
I give Marlon Martinez more than I give Brad Davis. I mean, because he made the right calls and right checks when he needed to.
And Holden makes a really good point here. I see Jordan in the
about
chat.
Special teams.
Yeah. And once again, you can't really see how the special teams units are performing without actually tackling. The missed field goals.
He missed a 47-yard field goal. Are we overreacting to that?
I mean, no. I think there was a lot of overreaction to the missed field goal. I would always go back to the Alabama and Florida kicks from Ramos this past year. I'd rather make those than make these in the spring game.
I think it's a little. I think I'm not worried.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm not worried about field goal kicker either. I thought, though, I'm not worried about Ricky Collins or any of the true freshmen that were playing.
We need to talk about him, but continue.
But I do think, right, I found a few things that Jaden did in this game to be very encouraging. Now, can he translate that to actual play on the field? Because, in a spring game, you're also less inclined to tuck and run because it's hard to tuck and run in an actual competitive setting because you can't actually get brought down. It takes away from that. I think next year, Blake, teams are going to be like, look, Jaden, we know you can kill us with your legs. We're going to mush rush you. We're just going to rush 4, stay in our pass lanes. Can you continue to beat us with pinpoint passes, with us dropping 7, us dropping 8-ish with the spy? And that's why the Kyron Lacey throw, the one-handed catch, Kyron deserves all the credit for that and all the credit for the run after. But, the way I looked at it, it looked as if that was a double move to Malik Neighbors. He goes off of that when it was covered. And to get that ball over Harold Perkins and throw it on a line and throw it.
He had to throw it exactly where he had to throw it, even though it was a great catch, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, it could have been a little bit more up and down, but I don't really care about that if you're going all the way to the left and then working back to the right. That was really impressive, especially considering last year, one spot of the field Jaden did not, or one type of throw he didn't like to throw, or seamish routes up the middle, because if you do throw them high, they'll get deflected.
They're going to get picked.
And gets picked. I'd like to see that willingness for him to do that. So,
and you got to give him credit, Carter. I mean, it's not as if Garrett Nussmeier's just handed it over to him.
Right.
All right. Two last things, and we'll get you out of here because it was getting kind of late. Ricky Collins, man. Let me just say this. I get he's running with the third string. I get that. Walker Howard didn't throw in a triple coverage and get something picked off last year. Got a long way to go.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was more than rough. Now, he showed some really good traits that I liked. Brother, he was getting taken down, and he didn't give two Rudy Poos.
Right.
I like seeing him in an open fashion. Decision make. You know who he is? I'm just serious. It's Garrett. Man, he's gonna have to just be. You're just gonna have to be fine with him progressing, and there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and Blake, I don't when I have the part 2 of the film study airing right after we're done here. I actually cut out all the Ricky snaps.
Okay.
because-
Okay.
but for good reason, because it just didn't feel. It doesn't feel like he's.
I mean, Carter, he's playing with a third string walk on O line.
Yeah, it
but-
really affected him. It really did.
But
Yeah.
there's no reason to throw in a triple coverage to Kyle Parker. I mean, his receivers aren't poo.
Right. Yeah, that was.
It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. I hate seeing those kinds of things. All right, last one.
Yeah.
Trey Holly.
He had a good game. I think he pushed piles, which was good to see. We didn't see anything like truly Trey Holly spectacular.
I disagree.
But-
disagree.
In terms of like a long run. But no,
what's 20 yards though?
No. I'm saying like his consistent like 40, 50, 60-yard bombs.
I mean, Carter, that's in high school.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's going to eventually come. But what really stood out to me, though, was just taking 4 yards when it was there, 5 yards when it was there. And a lot of young running backs that are used to doing that, they'll bounce like 30 different runs in the backfield and go for like a 2-yard loss instead of just taking the 4 and 5 yard game. But go on. I don't want to cut you
No,
off.
I just think. Well, he's not going to do that. He might have 1 or 2 a season. I mean, this isn't Farmerville. Okay, I mean, he's not going to. Carter, if he has 10 of those breakout runs, he's going to be in New York.
Oh, I know.
If he has 4, he'll be in New York. So he's not going to have those. 20 yards is 60 yards in high school. The run and catch is massive for him. The run and catch is massive.
Oh, on the touchdown.
For the touchdown. Because it comes with the ones. It comes from Jane Daniels, and you have that rapport. And quite honestly, can I just be real with you? I'm going to say something people are going to push back on me on. Why do you need John Emery?
Ooh. I don't think you need John Emery, but
Now,
I think
John made a fantastic play against Alabama. You can't take away from him. But everybody keep asking. I mean, hey, buddy, you better get with it. And I talked to John a while ago, and he got to get with it. I'll say it on here because he knows.
So we'll talk about this tonight. So what was interesting on the touchdown pass to Trey Holly, what I liked about that was they actually ran that exact same play
Against Bama.
Well, they actually ran that exact same play earlier in the spring game.
Okay.
And Garrett actually missed Noah Cain.
I remember that.
And it was the same play versus the same coverage. And I appreciated Dim Brock going back to it and getting Trey that tutty. The design of the play was very elaborate. And to come back to it, it was the exact same spot on the field. But instead of running it to the left, they actually ran it to the right. Now, Garrett, for the most part, was really good in this game. That was one of his.
Garrett's a weird quarterback. He likes throwing that first route. The first fade that he threw was to the left back pylon. That Purdue interception was in that back left pylon. And then the running back flare out was to the left side. He likes just, where Jaden likes to sit back and rock. Garrett likes to throw. It's two different. See, it's just two different styles, brother. It's
no, absolutely.
And I'm with you. But look, we didn't talk a lot about Garrett, and we will all summer. But Carter, I'm going to be real with you. If either one of look, I was big on Jaden a season ago. Okay, you know that. Everybody knows that because I just knew, and I wasn't wrong. Garrett wasn't ready to lead you to win the West. Okay, he is now.
I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. And
look, I took a lot of criticism behind this Jaden stuff now. A lot of criticism. But I knew he wasn't ready, and then the 2 picks against Southern proved it. He progressed throughout the season. Shocker, a redshirted freshman progressed throughout the season. Who would have ever thought a guy could progress? He did what he did against Georgia. And let's call it what it is, buddy. He just looked freaking good. Both of them did.
Yeah.
You can win. I'm going to tell you this right now. After what I saw in Alabama, either one of them can win you the West. Alabama's not good enough. They're not good enough at quarterback. Something drastically is going to have to change.
So since I was so focused on LSU and it was a crazy weekend, I've not even seen a second of the Bama spring game.
It's not as bad as people say that it is.
Okay.
It's not that bad, but
ooh,
it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
I will say this about Garrett. There was on the Ibieta touchdown. So they tried the same play where it's like a quick out, and
he threw in a triple coverage.
Well, what's so fascinating is this guy progresses so fast, and even Aaron Murray brought it up in you could tell he's a son of an NFL quarterback coach,
right?
And he just had some really impressive kind of throws. So they tried it to Ibieta early in the game. It kind of looks like he is faking throwing the out, but actually throwing it to the hitch. It is such a weird thing. It kind of looks like a no-look throw, but they're both in the periphery. And instead of throwing the out, he throws it to the hitch, and it fools the defense. I think that was part of what happened to Denver Harris, because Denbrock does a really good job of getting the defense moving left to right. SEC StatCat showed that LSU actually led all of college football in pre-snap motion, and they just did a really good job of that last year, and they did a really good job of that in the spring game. And I'll tell you this, Blake, I do not think Denbrock showed a lot of the playbook, and I'm not just saying that.
No, Carter. They ran. Here's what we came out with. You ready? Seven slants, 10 hitches, 1 sluggo, 1 seam or fade, 12 goes.
A go route. Man, a defense ain't gonna know what hit them. The go route, baby.
Well, and they're not done there, and I don't think they're done to the line. All right, buddy, we're way past our time. Thank you so much for being flexible on it. Good to be back with you. Thank you for joining with Zach last week. It's been fantastic, bud.
Yeah, Zach's internet went out, and I was just here by myself. And
I know.
I had no idea what was. I thought he was just. At first, I saw the lights go out. I thought he was turning off the show. So people don't know, I don't have any of your controls. So I thought I was just going to be just there.
No, I had it on. I was backstage.
Oh, okay, good. So you were okay.
Yeah,
even though you're look at you, even on vacation.
Yeah, even on vacation, the show was being. I could do what I needed to do. When I just put you up there, that was me controlling everything.
Oh, really? There you go.
I just didn't want to come on camera. I was holding Ben. He was half asleep, and I was just like, "This is typical." All right, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.
All right, that's Carter the Power Bryant. Guys, we've gone far and beyond what we normally do. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Y'all have a good one. Peace.